Okay, get ready to blast off because today we are diving deep into a career that's, well, literally out of this world.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about what it takes to become an astronaut.
Exciting stuff.
You bet it is. Now, you sent us some incredible material on this from RoleCatcher's career guides.
Yeah, they've got some really interesting insights in there.
They do. And whether you're someone who dreams of spacewalks or just curious about what it takes to join those elite ranks, I think we're about to uncover some surprises. At least I was surprised by some of this.
Well, I'm ready when you are. Let's see what we've got.
Perfect. Now, I've always thought becoming an astronaut was all about, being a physics genius and having nerves of steel.
Right, the classic image of an astronaut.
Exactly. And while those are definitely important, the guide reveals there's so much more to it than just that.
Oh, absolutely. Commanding a spacecraft, that's just one small piece of the puzzle. You're leading missions, managing these incredibly complex systems. You're a scientist, an engineer, a diplomat, all rolled into one.
It's like the ultimate multitasker.
You got it. And don't forget about teamwork.
Oh, right. The guide really emphasized that constant collaboration, and not just between the astronauts themselves, but with the scientists on the ground, engineers, even policymakers.
This is where it gets really interesting. One of the top skills they highlight is coordination.
Coordination. I mean, on one hand, that seems kind of obvious, right?
Sure, it sounds simple enough, but think about it. You're in this high-pressure, isolated environment, maybe doing a spacewalk to repair some critical system.
And one wrong move could have disastrous consequences.
Exactly. That need for flawless coordination, for crystal clear communication, absolute trust in your team, that's what elevates it from a basic skill to an absolutely crucial one for an astronaut.
It's like next level teamwork.
You could say that again.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's not just about being brilliant, but about being this incredible team player in the most extreme sense. So let's say you have the right stuff. You're the ultimate team player, you've got the brains. How do you even begin to get your foot in the airlock? Because the guide makes it clear that the competition is fierce.
It is incredibly competitive, but the guide does a really good job of breaking it down. And what I found fascinating was how much they emphasize both the traditional STEM background and practical experience.
So it's not enough to just ace those physics exams.
Nope, not at all.
Mm.
They were suggesting things like joining flying clubs, getting involved with aviation, internships with aerospace companies.
So showing that you've got initiative, a real passion for space exploration, even outside of the classroom.
Exactly. They even suggest building a portfolio, like if you've worked on any space-related projects, put those front and center.
So it's all about standing out from the crowd, showing that this isn't just some passing interest for you.
Yeah, it's a lifelong pursuit.
Now, for those lucky enough to make it through that initial selection process, the guide outlines this whole career progression. You start as an entry-level astronaut, and it goes all the way up to senior astronaut.
And let me tell you, that's a seriously rigorous climb.
Oh, I bet. What's it like?
Well, the fascinating part to me is how the responsibilities change at each level. Like,
Mhm.
you start out assisting on experiments, you're really getting a handle on the demands of spaceflight. But as you gain experience, you get more responsibility. Eventually, you're leading missions, mentoring new astronauts, even contributing to, like, the development of new space technologies.
Wow, so it's this career of constant growth, constant learning.
Got it.
It's like you're not just an astronaut, you're a lifelong student of the universe.
That's a great way to put it, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge and your own limits as well.
Now, this is where things took a turn I honestly didn't expect.
Oh,
You also sent over some info on RoleCatcher's AI-powered tools for job seekers.
right. They've been doing some really interesting things with AI.
I have to admit, I was a little surprised to see that in the mix.
It might seem like an odd pairing at first, but when you think about how competitive the job market is these days, even aspiring astronauts can benefit from an edge. And those spots, they're only getting more competitive.
Right. It makes sense when you put it that way. So tell me more about this RoleCatcher.capture tool. It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Okay, so imagine this. You are looking at a job description, any job description, and boom, you can see how well your skills and experience match up.
You mean like those online quizzes that tell if you're more of a Sally or a Bob?
Well, no, not quite. This is much more advanced. It's not just general. It gives you really specific insights into where your strengths lie and maybe where you need to build up your qualifications.
So it's tailored to you.
Exactly.
It's like instead of just crossing your fingers and hoping you'll nail those tough interview questions, you can actually practice with this AI that gets it, that understands the demands of spaceflight.
Exactly. It's like having a personal coach right there in your pocket, analyzing your responses, helping you fine-tune them.
Okay, that is seriously cool. But what kind of questions are we talking about here? Give me an example.
Okay, so let's say you're interviewing for, like, a long-duration mission, something like, a trip to Mars.
Okay, Mars mission. Got it.
So they might ask you something like, how would you handle a conflict in such a confined, high-stress environment? Or maybe describe a time when you had to make a critical decision, but you only had limited information. How did you approach that? What was your thought process?
Wow, those are tough questions. I'd be sweating in that interview room.
Right, and that's where the AI can really help you prepare. Because it's analyzing not just what you say, but even how you say it. Like your delivery, your tone.
Wait, hold on. How can it assess your tone? Is this like a video interview simulation or something?
That's a great question. So it's not analyzing video,
Mm-hmm.
but the AI uses natural language processing to kind of get a sense of, like, the sentiment and the flow of your responses.
That's wild.
Yeah. It can tell things like, does your language sound hesitant or confident? Is your sentence structure clear, concise? Things like that.
Oh, wow. So it's almost like having like an editor for your interview skills, but instead of polishing your writing, it's helping you come across as your best self, even if it's just through like written answers.
That's a great way to put it.
It's amazing what they can do with technology these days.
It really is.
But even with all these amazing tools at our fingertips,
Mm.
the guide still emphasizes those more traditional career building steps, right? Like those haven't gone away completely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher is not saying AI is some kind of magic bullet.
Right.
More like they're saying, look, here are some really powerful tools to add to your tool belt, to help you navigate this incredibly competitive landscape.
So it's about empowering aspiring astronauts, not replacing them.
Yeah.
I love that. So for those listeners who are now feeling super inspired, maybe they're dusting off those astronaut applications, what are some of RoleCatcher's top recommendations for like getting started? What are the first steps?
Well, they really hammered home the importance of hands-on experience.
Oh yeah, getting your hands dirty, so to speak.
Exactly. And they say the earlier the better. So joining a flying club, maybe getting involved with some aviation-related activities, seeking out internships with aerospace companies.
So really going beyond just like reading about it in a textbook.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to see that you're not just interested in the theory, but the real-world application of it.
Right. What else?
Networking. Don't underestimate networking.
Good old-fashioned networking.
It's still important. Attending industry events, connecting with people online, even reaching out for informational interviews.
So building those relationships and learning from the people who've, already blazed the trail in the space industry.
Precisely. And don't forget about continuous learning.
Oh, right. Like always be learning.
Yeah, especially in a field like this. Because the space industry is constantly evolving, changing. So whether that means pursuing an advanced degree, some specialized certifications, even just staying up to date with, like, industry publications, there's always something new to discover.
Wow. So it really is like a lifelong pursuit.
You could say that again.
Becoming an astronaut, it's like running a marathon, not a sprint. You need that dedication, the perseverance, and that genuine love for space exploration. Speaking of dedication, let's talk astronaut training. That's always fascinated me.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's like stepping into another world, physically and mentally.
It is incredibly demanding, both physically and mentally.
Yeah.
Like, astronauts go through such rigorous training in all sorts of areas. Spacecraft systems, how to operate those, spacewalk survival skills, even underwater simulations.
Wait, underwater simulations? Why underwater?
Right, so they have these huge, massive water tanks, and they use those to simulate the feeling of weightlessness.
Oh, right, because of the buoyancy.
Exactly. It's the closest we can get to experiencing zero gravity here on Earth.
So it's like a giant swimming pool for astronauts.
Well, not exactly a swimming pool. I mean, it's highly controlled. One famous one is NASA's Neutral Buoyancy Lab. It's huge, over 200 feet long, 100 feet wide. And they have, like, full-scale mock-ups of spacecraft modules that are submerged in the water.
That's incredible. They must throw everything they can at these aspiring astronauts
Yeah.
to like really prepare them for the unexpected.
They do. And it's not just technical skills either. Like, they go through extensive psychological training as well.
Oh, right, to prepare for the mental challenges of it all.
Exactly. Because you have to be ready for the isolation, the confinement, these high-pressure situations that can happen up there.
It really makes you realize they're not just brilliant scientists, engineers, pilots. They're also just like incredibly strong individuals,
Yeah.
resilient, to push themselves to that limit. It's amazing.
They are a rare breed for sure.
Yeah.
But you know what I find inspiring? The path to becoming an astronaut, it's open to anyone who has that passion, that drive, and the willingness to really put in the work.
Absolutely. And while most of us may never, actually get to experience space travel firsthand, I think the journey of becoming an astronaut, it teaches us some really valuable lessons that we can all apply to our own lives, no matter what we do.
I completely agree. It's all about pushing your own boundaries, embracing those challenges, and never giving up on your dreams.
Nicely said. This deep dive has been seriously eye-opening. But before we go too far, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the whole career progression from entry-level astronaut to senior astronaut. You said that RoleCatcher actually had some specific insights into each of those stages.
They do. They've put together these example profiles for each career stage, outlining the typical skills and experience that you'd need.
Oh, interesting. So it's like a roadmap for anyone who wants to climb that ladder.
Exactly. And it's really helpful for, understanding what it actually takes to progress in this field.
That's awesome. Can you walk us through some of the highlights?
Sure. So for an entry-level astronaut, they really emphasize the importance of, assisting senior astronauts, participating in the training programs, and following those safety protocols, religiously.
Right. Safety first, always. What about junior astronaut? What are we looking at there?
So at this level, it's about taking on more responsibility. You're assisting with mission planning, conducting experiments, operating and maintaining spacecraft systems.
Wow, so much more hands-on.
Definitely. And you might even get to participate in some spacewalks at this level, too.
Oh, wow. Like a real astronaut.
Right. And another thing they highlight as a key part of this level is experience working with international partners.
Oh, right. Because space exploration, it's not just one country anymore. It's this global endeavor.
Exactly. Collaboration is key, even or maybe especially in space. And then, of course, we have reaching the top, senior astronaut.
The pinnacle. What does it take to get there?
So these are your seasoned veterans, leading space missions, commanding those spacecraft, mentoring new astronauts, basically the top of the astronaut world.
That's amazing. To go from those early days of, assisting to actually leading your own missions, it really shows the dedication it takes to reach the top.
Absolutely.
Now, this whole deep dive has been incredibly inspiring, but before we get too caught up in the excitement of spacewalks and mission command, let's bring it back down to Earth for a moment.
Back to reality.
Well, not quite. We've talked a lot about the what of becoming an astronaut, the skills, the training, the career path. But I think it's also important to talk about the why.
Oh, I love that. Why would someone choose this?
Exactly. It's not your typical 9 to 5 with a, straightforward career ladder. It's demanding, it's risky, it's unpredictable.
And yet it holds this incredible allure for people.
It does. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's the ultimate adventure, don't you? A chance to explore the unknown, to push the boundaries of, what we know, what we can do, what we can experience.
There's something deeply profound about that, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. It's about something much bigger than ourselves. It's about contributing to something that will outlive us, something that could potentially benefit all of humankind.
It's about pushing the limits of what's possible for ourselves and for humanity as a whole. And I think that's something that resonates with people, even if they, never actually get to set foot on a spacecraft.
100%. There's this magic to space exploration, the sense of wonder, of awe that just captures the imagination. And it reminds us that there's so much more out there, so much more than just our everyday lives.
And it's not just about the science and the tech, though those are obviously huge parts of it. It's also about the human element, the courage, the resilience, that spirit of exploration that drives us to reach for the stars.
It's incredible, really. It's a testament to, what we're capable of as humans. That desire to explore, to discover, to understand our place in this vast cosmos.
It's humbling, honestly. Just to think that there are people out there who are willing to risk everything to further our understanding of the universe. It really makes you wonder what the future holds for space exploration. What are the challenges? What are the opportunities that await those who dream of, reaching for the stars?
Now that's the question, isn't it? What will they need? What skills? What kind of technology are they going to be using? What will they find out there? I mean, these are questions we can't even answer yet, and that's what makes it so exciting. We're on the cusp of this whole new era of space exploration.
A future bursting with possibilities. Well, this has been an amazing deep dive. We learned about the unexpected skills it takes to command a spacecraft, the role of AI in the future of job hunting, But I think one thing's for sure, the path to becoming an astronaut, it's every bit as demanding as it is rewarding.
It's a journey that takes more than just, smarts and technical skills. It takes courage, takes resilience, and it takes a whole lot of passion.
Well said. To all our listeners out there, whether you're dreaming of spaceflight or just, inspired by the dedication of astronauts, remember this. The sky's not the limit when there are footprints on the moon. Keep exploring, keep learning, and who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one pushing those boundaries of human achievement among the stars.
And hey, when that day comes, remember that resources like RoleCatcher, they're there to help you. They can give you the guidance and support you need along the way.
That's right. Our deep dive may be over, but your own exploration is just beginning. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep looking up.